Hello, everybody. Welcome to another AMA with Medieval Empires. And today with me is Asad, who's our co-founder and chief visionary officer, and Cheng, who you know is our chief product officer. And today we are going to talk about some important announcements that we are going to make regarding some important milestones that are going to be coming in Medieval Empires, the game as well as the project overall. So without further delay, let me give it to Ching to tell you about the upcoming features that are coming in Medieval Empires very soon.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Good to be here again. I'm going to talk mainly about features, whatever you're going to see in the game. And yeah, Asad will take care of the rest of them. As you can see, the background mine is a bit different from the other two. Internally, we call it Christmas because we are now preparing for the Crusader faction release. And we have this internally a theme, the Christmas background. You know, when you're working remotely, you have the Christmas kind of virtual environment. As you can see with AI tools, you have all this Crusader happily celebrating Christmas. This is also means what's coming next as the big milestone is the Crusader faction. We pushed the kind of deadline a little bit because we wanted to make sure that all the edge cases are tested and so basically ensure the new player experience for the Crusader factions. So this means the Crusader faction will come very soon. Uh, early January, early Q1 this year. I would say January. Uh, the Crusader release will be kind of a two steps. Step one will be the new player experience. Our aim is to attract a lot of more new players, especially around the Crusader faction, that people will feel not how to say feel different. You know, especially with a lot of players are very into that kind of background or historical part, or even the design. The part two will be we call it cross-function support. Cross-faction support means if you are existing Turkish faction players, you are very far in the progression, you should have a very smooth transition if you wanted to switch to Crusade. Or if you want to have a mix, for instance, you have a land on the Turkish land, but you can invite a friend who is playing on Crusade and join your land. This is a lot. There are a lot of edge case, a lot of scenarios here. That's why I think the whole scope of the whole faction release it's much bigger, much more complex than we thought.
Hmm.
This
We
is
are writing history because English Crusaders and Kayi Tribe will fight together.
yes, we are historical inspired. So we are not saying we have to be very 100% accurate, but we try to stay true to this as much as we can. This is mostly reflect to how you see the design of the characters, of the historical kind of cultural aspects. But again, if you really look in the history, they didn't really fight against each other. But you know, in our world, game world, a lot of things would happen.
That's cool. I
And
like it.
we also talk about Holy Roman empires, other factions. So step by step, we're building.
But I think this is the good step that you guys are clarifying whatever the edge cases are in this particular faction inclusion to the game, so that once in the future more and more factions are included with time,
Yeah,
you have already sorted out all of this, like edge cases and everything. So it will be a much smoother transition, I would say, from one faction play to multiple faction play
exactly.
altogether.
Yeah. So from
Yeah.
that point, it's more like a pipelines. The process is once you build up all this, then when you add a new faction, it's much smoother, much easier.
So just to clarify for everybody who's listening, the first part of the Crusader faction in which Shing was mentioning that it's a two-parter change, which is going to happen. The first part of Crusader is going to come in which your current town, if you're already playing, will not immediately go into Crusader mode. You can still like create another account or get another Crusader land and start from the very beginning in the Crusader town, Crusader side of the game. But if you wait, then you will be able to sort of eventually, we are working on it, that you can convert your current Kai town into Crusader town. But
Yeah,
that's going to be in the part two release of the Crusader, not the
exactly.
immediate release, which we are expecting in the early Q1 of 2025.
Yeah, this will
Okay.
come to like a step after another, and also
Hmm.
for Turkish faction players, everything works as usual. It doesn't
Hmm.
prevent you continue. And we also put the Crusader and Turkish faction competition in the same global leaderboard later went to separate because latecomers can really not compete with the early adopters, and this is just an impossible fight.
Yeah.
And also P2P to come, PvP, and also clan versus clan. This will come later. So basically, this is opening a new dimension for this game, and more will expect to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also the PvP, I know Rosa also talked to me a lot of times about talking more about PvP, and we also saw a lot of people mention about PvP. For the previous video,
They also
about,
saw the demo of PvP with Felix.
yes.
I think 2 weeks ago, they
Yes.
saw the demo of PvP, and people were very excited about it.
Yeah. PvP is a bit of a different story because itself, it's actually how to say, PvP is actually fundamentally require the change of our battle systems. That's why it took us some time to prototype the first version, and we were not very happy with it. We decided to continue how to say, evolve our battle
Reiterate it.
systems.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you will have this good, better pathfinding. You have a multiple army fighting multiple armies. This will also like lay down the foundation for later clan versus clan. So this we decide to give more time, build this PvP, make it better quality. So I would say the kind of roadmap wise, this will be further like changed. We plan to release this in Q2 2025, but with a good quality, as you can see already. The video you guys did shows potentially what can be done, but what we will finally release will be much better than that in terms of UI UX and also the game experience as well.
Just to add here, I think also for the community that everyone understands, we want to build a game who can compete with Web 2 games. So we need to make sure that our PvP and all functions we build, they are compatible, as good as they are in other games, right? And this is the reason why we really want to make sure everything is working smooth. It makes sense for the players. They want to do it every day whatsoever. That's why it takes a little bit more time. But then at the end, you will have a product which is much more polished and more fun to play for you.
Yeah.
I think one more thing.
Milestones here. So I'm not going to mention a lot of small things. Also, a lot of things like behind the scenes, for instance, architecture change, this and that. This is only like a player seeable big milestones. I think that the other one is mobile, right? And we'll talk about.
This is the biggest, I think, asked question in the community.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's not a single day, I think, in last 2.5 years I've been working with this company that I have not answered this question to the people, that when the mobile version is coming out.
Myself came from mobile gaming business. I have to tell you, just building a mobile game itself is very complex, and in our case, it's a game cross platforms. We already have a playable build that we are internally using for keep kind of our UI UX design and testing. It's kind of like a prototype but a playable against a live environment. So our goal is to in Q1 to have this playable demo build that we can invite some players already try. Something like I don't know how we select people to join, but we'll have some players, some friends, or maybe some whoever you guys decide you wanted to have, and we can have them to join already give feedback. And the UI UX, especially UI part, will be very different from what you see right now on the current desktop. And this is really designed for a mobile native. It's a very ambitious design. It's personally, I have to say, I really like the mobile version. And
mobile.
Once we
I
release,
in the mobile version, it's really good.
I mean, that's the point. That everyone understands it also in the community. We are as keen as you guys to play the mobile version because I myself,
keen, I could say.
I'm a total mobile strategy gamer. Like I play these strategy games mobile. Like this is my thing. So I can't wait to have medieval empires in mobile, and we're really pushing it. But again, it's the same here. We want to have a polished version. We want to have something good and not just throw something to the market and then people will see, okay, it's maybe not so good, right? But as Ching said, end of Q1, we will have some demo of this new UI. It's a demo with some early people. It will be probably people who are very keen, staying with us, supportive with us. Like we would choose some of these people to play this demo. to give us feedback and to get a feeling how it will look like. So
Yeah.
that's actually the plan. And from there, we go and obviously polish the version and bring it out soon after that.
I think similarly, like how we did with the PC version as well, that we had different sort of stages of people coming in, and more people came in, and we stress tested the builds and everything, and eventually, like, we got to a point where now it's an open game where everybody can join in with the passport. Yeah, so I think, so just to recap quickly about these important milestone questions which keep coming in, because people will keep asking me again and again on this. So Q1 2025, we are bringing Crusaders Part 1, and then there will be eventually a second iteration of Crusaders in which you can convert your existing towns into Crusader towns if you're willing. If you want to play with Kai, all the power to you. Like, Kai will still be the origin OG faction, I would say. I will always be Kai. So, secondly, then we have, like we mentioned, the PvP, which you mentioned, like, we are working on it. Probably later the next coming year, we will have PvP there. And then the mobile version, like we mentioned, it will be a playable demo, which will be available to certain selected members from the community. Those who we know, we are observing that they are playing the game regularly, and they can stress test the game very well in their cell phones, and they can get. I mean, this will not be a perfect build, because that the whole entire exercise would be to test the game and tell us that, okay, what's not working in that particular thing, or what is working very good in that thing. So
Exactly.
their feedback would be very important. Those people have to be very active players in the community, so that they are very much able to give us feedback every now and then in that. And then eventually, later in 2025, we hopefully will be releasing the mobile version, which is going to be accessible to more players. You have anything, like you mentioned, like, there's a lot going, like, this is the big milestone, which is like front facing to the people who are playing the game.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, there's a lot going on in the architecture of the game. You want to mention about something about payment solution as well, right, Shane?
Well, it's a lot of mention, like another smaller things like a lineage and also player minted
Oh, yes.
heroes, which is actually big because then finally whoever owned the Genesis Commander can finally create a very unique, very powerful hero that can sell them. Our P2P trading just we released with the player minted unit has been demonstrated there is a market there, and there's a willingness of trading. What we really needed to like streamline this whole process and also improve the game plan and get more players in. So which, if you have been playing our game, you can see we have done a lot of change. We have done a lot of like rebalancing. This is constant. This is a constant thing we're doing. That also takes time because every time we introduce something bigger, we also need to re-evaluate. Okay, how this affect the game economy? We need to consider what effect to existing players, what effect to the new players. And for the other thing, for instance, what you said, this payment is generally like it's a product capacity. It's about how we can further improve and scale up our crypto payment system and also the fiat payment system. So we've been doing this by ourselves, and then we now decide to collaborate with other teams, other company, which is more dedicated professional on that specific domain. More information we can talk about this later, but in general, its idea is we will be able to focus more on our core part of the game development. Our partner teams can utilize their specialty, their strength to improve our online shops and the payment system, make the transactions more smooth, more secure. Yeah, so as you can see, we work with the immutable. We very kind of deeply integrated into the ecosystem, which has potential and also tremendous benefit for both teams and also for our players. So this is our general direction.
Yeah. And then, Asad, you wanted to talk about, because I think the number one question when we threw the opportunity for the community to ask you questions was me token. When is there going to be more listing for me tokens?
Yeah. So there was one exchange who listed us, I think, 2 days ago.
Bitunics, yes, they listed us,
Yeah.
yes.
So we were not in contact with them actually. They listed us. It's the same with Maxi back in the days, I think, that they just
Yeah.
listed us without even telling us, which is okay. We are not against it. We like if exchanges list us, but our prepared listing where we want to have something bigger, obviously, this is something which will come in Q1, where we're looking for. We are a little bit, or we try to time the market, because now, just as we talk, Bitcoin just went down yesterday again and the day before again. So there was a dip, right? And to launch, for example, on an exchange in a market which is going down, not so cool. So that's why we wait for some events to happen in Q1 to get listed on a bigger exchange, which will excite everyone, I'm sure. So just be patient on that. It will happen for sure. We are intrinsic motivated to do it because we want to have it available for everyone, and it makes sense for you guys and for us. It will come. Just be a little bit more patient, and then we will have a good listing on board. If we talk about listing, it's the same with the Epic. Epic listing is actually happening right now. As at least you have a wish list. We will do also some campaigns especially in January. We will have a bigger campaign. Also, I don't want to give too much alpha right now, but there will be some cool things happening in January and February in terms of good campaigns, good involvement of KOLs, and some avatar things maybe. Let's see.
You're giving out too much. You're giving out too much.
Yeah. So I will stop now.
Leave something for next year.
So yeah, so some cool things to come, and this will make everyone happy. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the main things.
I just want to go through the questions once more among the questions we have received, if we have missed anything, because again, the most asked questions were about the roadmap, the coming milestones that are coming there. And I think, Ching, you have already talked about what can you tell us about legacy lineage and new weapons NFT. So you have already discussed that they are in plan, they are going to be implemented as well. And one question which came to us was, will there be a Linux version of the game? Not in immediate future.
Not on our roadmap right now.
Not on our roadmap, but
yeah,
if there is more demand for it, we definitely will. Because right now the game is playable on Mac and PC both. But yeah, if there is more demand for it, we definitely will consider Linux version as well.
Okay, but the thing is, if we have limited capacity, mobile Linux.
I will leave it.
I think some platforms actually having some kind of like a shell applications, or I think that's one. You could actually run Windows applications on Linux. There could be some quick fix, but in general, right now, game team, this is not our focus, I have to say.
Exactly.
But again, we listen to our community. If this has become a more demand request, we'll discuss this and in terms of how this will affect our roadmap priorities.
Yeah, I think these were the major themes which were, asked by the community as the questions were received from us, from our community, who are very active and very vocal about what they want to ask, and it's good. But yeah, like I said, mentioned, we have our priorities in order, and we also have our eye on the market, because we do operate in crypto and we do understand and very much closely observe how the market is going. And what, again, we have advisors on board. Asad and Jan are very closely working with their advisors as well. So
I just want to add something here. I think it's very important to see. I think there was a study from GamesGG. They said that from the last bull run, they checked 500 projects, something like that, and 93% of all these projects are dead, right? And just have a look. Like, we are building since now almost 3 years, and we are still there. We were always there. We were always transparent, showing stuff. I can understand if community wants to have faster information, more information, is fully understandable. But at the same time, you need to understand, like good quality game takes time. And we have people like Ching, but also our CTO, Moritz. They are from studios like King and other very big studios, our art director from Disney. So we have really good people. They make sure we will have a good game, but it will take sometimes a little bit more time, or we need to revise some ideas. It's just how business works, not only in gaming, but overall with all big projects. There will be something where you have a little bit delay and then you bring something else. But there will be also something in January we did not tease. The project we're working on
Don't
with.
mention more.
Yeah,
Leave that
yeah.
for later.
No, no, I just want to say, so there are also other things coming we are maybe
Uh,
not talking about. So this is
yes.
also something you will see and be maybe happy about it. So yeah, try to be patient. We always try to answer all the questions. I try to get myself as a co-founder in Telegram sometimes to talk a little bit, that you guys can see we are here, right? Always for you if you have questions. But yeah, be patient, please.
No, I think the questions our community, like what I like about our community, that even if we give them the news which they're not very, I think, willing to hear, but they understand it. Like they every time whenever we have like been very transparent about anything which they ask us about, when we tell them, they eventually understand, and they see in the long term as well, like why certain decisions were taken at certain point of time in our journey that eventually led to something which they are actually now enjoying in the game. So even like all, like
Yeah,
you mentioned, like in last 2 years we have been like consistently improving the game, testing the functions, testing the
yeah,
overall, improving the visuals, improving the overall experience of the game. We introduced, like we have done so much in, like if we look back, like I just keep a track of it and I look at the original version, the grayscale version of the game which first came out, and then the current version of the game which is right now live. It's a lot we have achieved, but like a lot is more to come. So I think this is something to look forward to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that building a blockchain game, it's quite different from traditional game development. You have a lot of
Hmm.
this phase, you build up something and it's ready to release, then you start testing, and then you get feedback, but this feedback really doesn't really change much overall how the game will be. Like basically it's a 90% set. In our case, the game has evolved and changed a lot just because the community. That's why I think we're a very community focused and community based game. And there's one example I can mention, like quite a while ago, that we got this feedback from one of the players. I forgot who this person is. Just saying like, okay, you guys should communicate more often with us within a game, right? Then we start putting a lot of effort changing how our kind of back office system to make it easier to send, to push like broadcast messages, to do the all the kind of communication more move towards within the game, which is showing that it's having increase way more positive interaction between us and our communities. And this is just one example of how we react based on your inputs, and we actively monitor people's feedback, the reports in the communities. How to say that's why like we have to spend a lot of time also do the live game support, and also iterate to change our games based on the like these feedbacks. So it's not just okay, here's the roadmap, do it, and then later. Yeah. So it's a very different way of developing games. For me, it's a really great learning as well.
Yeah, and some, like always say that I think it's a terminology which has repeated like multiple times in on AMA, is that sometimes we have to not just invent the wheel, but actually completely bring the raw materials for the wheel as well to create the wheel first. Like we can't just reinvent the wheel, we are actually building the wheel all together in Web3, because some things which are, we go in the market and it has not been tackled before, and when we are then building it up, we are then building it from absolutely scratch. So I
I
think that
want to give
also matters.
one more alpha, not completely, but a little bit. We appreciate again our community and our landowners, and there will be something
Yeah.
we can announce soon for our landowners. We'll give something back for sure.
Asad is being very spoiler oriented right now. Like he is
Yeah.
just throwing out all the things we have planned late for
No,
the
no,
next
no.
year.
I don't say anything what it is. I just want the community to understand that there is so much coming, and we
Yes.
talk about some stuff, and about some stuff we don't even talk yet, but just that there's a lot to come, and we're very thankful that you guys are with us, and we see how positive also the chat is, and we have a lot of people who talk in our words, like we don't ask them to, but obviously we're very happy that we have this close community which are like very behind us and try to push it. So I also wanted to say thank you very much for whole year support again, and also that you stay with us all the time. We come to the end of the year, and I think we all wish also the whole community a great time right now, Christmas time, and then year-end time. There's a lot to celebrate and be with the families, and then much more things to come.
True, true. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for joining me and updating the community with what is coming and how the things are planned to go with medieval empires and beyond. Uh, Guys, thank you so much for your questions who wrote us, and I hope we have answered most of your questions. And I will leave one question to you. Like, the Kayi tribe is presented by uh, Engin Altan Düzyatan in our Kai faction. Who do you want to see like representing the Crusader faction? Give us your suggestions. Like throw us some suggestions who you want to see representing the Crusader, because the character which we are going to bring in for the Crusader is who's it called? Edward Longshanks. Who can play
Okay.
Edward Longshanks? Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us your suggestions. We would be
Is a question to us or question to community?
question to you as well, question to the community as well, everybody. We are
We
open. We
shall.
are we are we are listening with open ears, and we are creating a wish list. Let's see.
We can't say, yeah, it would be interesting to know, but we're also in contact with some great
Some
actors.
interesting names, yeah. That's why I want to understand it, how community, like maybe some of you will name that person who we are, like there are 2 or 3 people we are in communication with, and if someone names that would be funny, and I would be laughing internally, not saying anything until we are ready to announce about it. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for playing Medieval Empires and being with us in this journey, not just this AMA, but like overall journey. And hopefully, you will keep playing Medieval Empires in 2025 as well and beyond. Have a amazing holiday season and amazing new start to the new year. And see you in 2025. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.